What's up, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for One Piece. One Piece chapter 939. Now, finally we get to jump back to the prison in this chapter, but we also get something that kind of stabs me here, but I still think there's something else going on here. This is too easy an answer, Oda. This is too easy. At the beginning of the chapter, of course, the Komurosaki is, it's clearly Komurosaki, and she's apparently Hiyori and stuff, and it was laid on so thick that I'm still doubting. And what's with the laughing little girl? Why is she so important? Why does everyone know about her? And is this really, this childlike woman, really the one that stole money out of people's hands, was an actual courtesan and all this stuff, and remained all proper for so long? Something's not adding up. Once again, I brought up the fact that potentially she could have a bipolar disorder, something like that, split personality, something to that effect, that she jumps between the masquerade of courtesan, proper woman, and the 8-year-old, the young daughter of the Kazuki clan who never grew up. Maybe a combination thing. Clearly this is throwing out my Komurosaki is Kinemon's daughter theory kind of out the window, but I still hold faith. I still hold doubt that she is actually Hiyori. This answer seems too upfront, too out of the blue, and too easy an answer. Oda's going to pull something. Oda's going to pull something about this. Whether it relates to the little girl, Otoko or whoever, or not, it remains to be seen, but I think this is too easy. I still think there's more going on here. Now, the rest of the Zoro and Komurosaki conversation goes basically like they explain, okay, we actually got an answer where a lot of people brought this up. I even brought this up. And honestly, this is a pretty easy answer. It didn't need that much thought. This at least makes sense. Whereas Zoro's, they talk about, what's going on, about the plan, about, Momonosuke is still only 8 years old, 10 years old, whatever. And, because it's been 20 years, but of course they time traveled, didn't age. And Zoro brings up a good point and says, wait a minute now, why? Why only Momonosuke? Why not you as well? This is kind of, and she brings up, I'll buy this for now, regardless about whether she is or is not actually Hiyori and whether she's actually on their side or not, remains to be seen, but this reasoning is still sound. It's like, well, the Kazuki clan had to live on. Oden is dead, as far as they knew. Once again, still hold out another theory, hold out the fact that Oden is alive. But they needed to make sure that this Kazuki bloodline continued. And so, for the sake of it, they said, well, we got to split them up. Split up the children, in case something happens with the time travel powers and they get slaughtered right away, or in case, something happens to us here if we stay. It was a gamble. You had 2 children, and instead of doing a coin toss about where to send them, you kind of, you beat the bank sort of idea. You beat the casino. You bet 1 million on red and 1 million on black. You're going to lose $1 million potentially, but you're also going to gain that $1 million back. It's a kind of a neutral ground stance to make, and I was okay with this. I agreed that this is a sound reason for now. We also get the reveal of the other 9 red sheaths, because we talk about Kawamatsu, who is apparently is a Kappa, so we're going to see some turtle-like. He's probably a turtle zone, or he might be the literal, like we've already seen Kaido is a dragon, and stuff like that. So potentially we will see, and we've seen Marco the Phoenix, so he could have the mythical Kappa zone fruit, or he could have the ancient tortoise fruit, because remember, a lot of reptiles are ancient. So he could have an ancient tortoise fruit, being similar to a Kappa, or he could actually literally have the mythical zone Kappa fruit. Either way, Kawamatsu and Ashura Doji, who is now Shutenmaru, and of course Denjiro, they are all the other 3 members of the 9 red sheaths. And it kind of makes sense. Some people brought this up. It makes sense when Kinemon brought up, okay, we need these 3 guys. They are super strong. It made sense that he would go after. Now, I brought up the theory that potentially one of them is dead. That would be kind of cool. Like, not one of the 3 members that Kanemo mentioned, but one of the, some of the members of the 9 Red Chiefs were killed during Kaido's, takeover. and Kanemo would know this, So that's what I kind of thought, and I thought, okay, maybe not all these members, these 3 samurai, are necessarily all 9 red chiefs, but yeah, apparently they are, so there's no more mystery left. Those are the 3 other members. Inarashi and Nekomamushi are also considered members, along with Okiku and the other samurai / ninja that time traveled into the future. So this all makes sense. This is all like, okay, so now we're getting some reveal here, we're getting some stuff, and Zoro goes on to say about like what's happening right now. The plan has been sort of foiled, but at the end of the day, like there's a lot of players moving on this chessboard, and Zoro has a good opinion here. Like too many cooks in the kitchen, too many roosters in the henhouse, and too many captains to steer a ship. So Zoro realizes something's got to be done, and we need to, there is bad things and good things about what's happening right now. However, he just says, you know what, wound still kind of hurts, I'm tired, I'm just going to go to sleep. Too many captains, too many heads, rolling. I'm not going to throw my opinion in there. I'm not going to like bust my ass to get out there and just to voice my opinion, There are multiple of other actual captains in this plan. That's fine. Zoro's like, all right, he doesn't mention going after Yukimaru yet. But I'm imagining he's not ready to leave. He's going to go battle the bridge. Remember that he was saying, so at least, buddy, I know where he is. He's not going to go anywhere if he guards this bridge. So there is that mention. And then after this, they fall asleep and stuff. And we don't see any like significant, like something to tip us off that maybe Komurosaki is not all she appears to be. She didn't seem to poison, Zoro's bandages or anything like that. So once again, a lot of people thought that she was Hiyori right off the bat, but this still feels too easy to me. But elsewise, that's all the information we really get from that. And then we jump over to the other big giant, not the prison mine, but the actual, like a house where they're storing all the rebels. They're storing all these people, and we see Beppo and everyone there saying, like, the captain will surely stand up for us, because we all knew Law's crew did not betray them. We all knew that right from the get-go, but of course, Shinobu and them do not believe this. They don't know these people. As I mentioned in the last review, this makes sense. Her outrage and her capacity for victory and her like willingness to do this makes sense. Remembering what they've gone through, this makes sense, and you can't fault her character for that. And here we basically get that clearly Beppo and them were not the ones who gave it away, and we see the head of the Oniwaban group, and I'm not going to try to pronounce that Kazawazu name, but the head of the Oniwaban is there, saying, and we see that there are a bunch of wealthy nobles and people like that also that got thrown in this place, and there are a ton of rebels. There's way more than I think they all thought would be on Oden's side, be on the Kazuki clan side after 20 years. There's still so many people, even influential people in the royal capital are being thrown in. They try to say, well, look, like the tattoo, it's an old fad. It's something, yeah, of course we had it when the Kazuki clan was here, but look at us, we're all old, It's just, we never removed it, we don't have that method or something. They're not buying it because they figured out the puzzle. He holds up things like, then what's the point of this puzzle message? Why is this being sent around? Clearly, and yeah, so it's hard to say what's really going to happen here. But elsewise, we don't really get much information from this other than the fact that Beppo is confirming that they were not the ones who leaked the information. After this, we jump over to the prison mine, and Luffy is still going at it. Now, here in the prison, we get a lot of really cool moments, and we also see references to Rayleigh and Sentomaru doing that different form of armament hockey ability. Now, I brought up in a couple of reviews ago about, is it just armament? Like, it's clearly, we've already seen the next level of observation in the Katakuri fight, which Luffy displays a definite, I won't say it's on the level of Katakuri, but his observation hockey has clearly improved to a form, even if only slightly, of future sight, and it seems to be rather particular. It seems rather acute, like he's not forcing himself. He doesn't seem to need a huge amount of concentration. He's using this willy-nilly, telling where Hirogoro of the Flowers, old man Hyo, he's telling him, here, go left, right, dodge, up, uppercut, exactly what to do, and he's been doing it. So Luffy now has observation hockey to that level. It wasn't showcased so much other than the timestamps, but remember, I mean, Rayleigh did bring up the fact that at the end of the day, there's no better than a life or death situation is where you get that massive boost. That's the best way to train your hockey. When you start going up against stronger and stronger opponents, that's where you're going to get leaps and bounds of experience and training for your hockey, better than any amount of training you can do on this island or any training you do with outside of life and death, right? So this makes sense considering the category fight went on so long. Now, do I think Luffy deserved to come to this level this quickly, just after one fight with one future sight user? No, I don't think he should be at the level he's currently displaying, but it's still cool to see. And hockey is something that Luffy is, of course, adept at. He's adept at using all forms, Conquerors being what he's affiliated with. But still, so it's okay. And now he's trying. He's been trying this whole time against gifters, nonetheless. They stopped with the riffraff and stuff, and some of the smile users, and they've gone on to the actual gifters, who are like smile zone fruits. And it's funny because we see that Apache, or basically that llama-looking thing again, that spit on Luffy before. Hyogo of the Flowers taking him out like nobody's business that we see here. But also an armadillo zone fruit, or smile zone fruit, which is so amusing because Tekking 101 did a Devil Fruit contest for different categories, and I believe it was Rogers Base and I forget who the other judge was, but they were judging all these different fruits, and one of the ones brought up who won was like 10th or 9th place was an armadillo zone fruit. So it's so funny to see that so soon afterwards that we have an armadillo fruit. This whole time, he's using, the armadillo has pistols with sea stone bullets made only here in Wano. So clearly this is what, if his claim is correct, then this is where the government gets sea stone bullets from. And of course why they are so rare, because look at how Orochi has been treating the government right now, treating everyone, basically saying, like, you want our goods, pretty much. Like, you want our sea stone, but you want our sea stone bullets, because only Wano craftsmen can probably make sea stone bullets. So it's where they're getting their shipment of these type of things from, and of course they're doing their trading thing. So that's interesting enough. Now everyone in the crowd is all like, oh no, don't do that, you'll end the fight too quickly. Once again, sea stone bullets won't affect, his hockey. I don't believe sea stone affects hockey. This has been it's been a bit of a thorn in my side, something that I think Oda left too ambiguous a couple chapters ago, and now I'm hesitant to bring that up again, like rant about that again. Sea stone has zero effect on hockey as far as I'm concerned. That's still a fact. Luffy was just being weird about it or something. The thing is that even Queen recognizes this. Queen's sitting back, still munching and going, yeah, are those idiots' eyes only for show? Like, those aren't going to do nothing. This execution, that ain't an execution yet. Like, because he's seen how strong Luffy is, and probably Kaido's crew is probably somewhat informed of the actual outgoings outside of Wano. They know about Straw Hat's strength and Captain Kidd and Law and all that stuff. So I'm sure, and from seeing what he's been pulling off with the Conqueror's hockey and stuff, Queen's sitting back going, the gifters ain't going to take him out. Are you guys stupid? And so I really like that moment that Queen is recognizing, like, this is just for entertainment purposes right now. He's just sitting back like, this is entertaining. And we also see that we get Rayleigh and Sentomaru, as I said before, they're showcasing that special version of Armament hockey. That ability that's like the second level. The ability they don't need to blacken their fists and throw a punch and physically connect. Now, here we do see at the end, let's just talk about this, because Luffy is attempting to do this. He keeps doing it and he goes, no, that's regular. His fist is black. He goes, that's regular black hockey. That's Armament hockey. That's not what I want to do. And he keeps doing this. Now, Hyogo of the Flowers runs up to him and is like, wait a minute, let me get this straight. We are in a prison. We're fighting for our lives and stuff, and you're using all this as training pretty much. Like, what are you trying to do? What is that you're attempting here? And Luffy explains what he's attempting, what he's trying to do. Hyogo of the Flowers, who clearly, there's a couple of nods here that even though he's weak and old and frail, even Queen brings up, he still looks pretty young to me right now, is that he is still moving. Just because Luffy is telling him with his observation hockey where to move, doesn't mean that he he doesn't have to move fast. Hirogoro of the Flowers is still a speedy little demon, and we see that he uses a version of Haki called Goken. Now, the difference between Goken, it seems, and this second level of Haki, I'm sure they don't have much in the way of differences, but I don't remember Sentomaru or Rayleigh blackening their hands to use it. Now, that could once again be a visual thing. A lot of people are bringing this up. Remember that Armament Haki and Haki in general was not visually shown. Borderline, basically pre-time skip. Post-time skip is where Oda went, okay, here's your visual aid to know when people are using Haki. Up to that point, it was basically hit and miss. For example, the battle Zoro had against Daz Bones, the way that Hirogoro of the Flowers explains this Goken ability, which is what Luffy explains, here's what I want to do, what basically Master Rayleigh is able to do, is be able to knock someone out without actually physically touching them with Armament Haki, not Conquerors. Here's where Luffy believes, and this is so much of a stretch because we've seen Rayleigh do this and Sentenmaru do this. If it was so easy to knock through Kaido's tough skin, I mean, this ain't the answer, Luffy. I'm sorry, and it just can't be because there are so many people like Big Mom and Shanks people. Big Mom would not say, "There's no way you'll defeat that thing." You telling me that Big Mom wouldn't be able to pull off something? No. So Luffy trying to raise up his Armament Haki enough to damage Kaido is great in theory, and I'm glad he's still training. But at the end of the day, this ain't the answer to defeating Kaido, Luffy. I'm sorry. But that's why he wants to learn it. He wants to learn what Rayleigh was able to do and what Sentomaru was able to do. And Hirogoro of the Flowers explains that this is something that swordsmen here in Wano are able to do. Haki is something that's a foreign concept, something foreign usage. We use a form called Goken. Goken basically being Armament Haki, but they believe it's something to do with the samurai way and the warrior spirit sort of idea. We're getting into a bit of a Himura Kenshin level of what makes a warrior spirit sort of thing. And he explains that this is the ability of master swordsmen to be able to cut through something as strong as steel, but also be able to not even cut the hair on someone's head when they choose. It's the full control of the sword. And this makes sense. We have seen this from Zoro. It's potentially just an unconscious, most basic form of this Haki, but this is something that Zoro has displayed in the past. Once again, visual aids were not shown way back when. Not back in Alabasta, not back in East Blue, not back in any of these arcs, right? So it's entirely possible that Zoro was showing a very rudimentary version of this Haki, this swordsman Haki, which seems to be the level 2 version, without knowingly doing it. And he was fine-tuning this since. And maybe Zoro hasn't seen the need to be able to use this second level of Haki. Once again, that's basically what Mihawk trained him in, was Armament Haki. He just showed him how to utilize his Haki better. Of course, probably his swordsmanship improved, but that's basically what it boils down to. Potentially Zoro already has this, and we just haven't seen him in enough of a fight to have to use it. Once again, we haven't seen all of Zoro's newest versions of his techniques yet. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that. Potentially, it's really cool here. The way they're explaining it and this Goken ability. And Hirogoro of the Flowers can use it. Now, the difference is, see, here's the huge difference. Sentomaru and Rayleigh did not do the Black Hand thing. Goken, or second level Armament Haki, is clearly shown here still with a Black Fist, but he's able to do what Rayleigh did. And he says, Straw Hat, is this basically what you wanted to learn? And he takes out a gifter, and everyone's like, he really is Hirogoro of the Flowers. He just took out a damn gifter. And so Hirogoro of the Flowers is still no slouch. I want to see him, if he's well-fed and tended, I want him to be a badass. I think Hirogoro of the Flowers deserves to be a badass. The only guy who can literally, it's like old rock stars that were treated like badasses, but they had like jeans with like roses stitched all in them. Like, he couldn't pull off that shit now. Back then, it didn't matter. He was still a badass. Same idea, Hirogoro of the Flowers. Nobody's screwing with that title. That title's still amazing. He's still amazing. Old Man Hyo, I'm so glad that he is still a badass. And he knows a level of Haki that even Luffy doesn't have yet. And Luffy's like, yeah, if you can teach that to me, that's exactly what I want to learn. Teach me right now. Let's do this. You know, oh man, you're awesome. So this whole thing has been really, really cool. And I know I jumped around a lot, but there's just, there's so many connections. You can now go back into One Piece and try to make the connections with things. And you have to understand some poetic license here. Hockey was not visually shown for a very long time in One Piece. This black hockey showcasing is a visual aid that Oda used later by the time of Marineford to help showcase hockey because it was never clear. Now we have a clear visual aid, and whereas manga is 90% visual, it's something that we really need to see rather than just assume and associate and all that stuff. So I just want to say that I still think that we've seen levels of this before. We saw it with Sentomaru, we saw it with Rayleigh, and I believe we did see it with Zoro to a certain level. Once again, this you could say yay or nay to this, but it's starting to slowly explain. Maybe Goken is an ability that directly comes from Wano. This Armament Hockey second level was something, the mastery of hockey, the ability to control it to such a degree, because remember, it also means that I can punch through a brick wall without touching it, but I can also, just lightly touch it and not even hurt it. I can cut a leaf with a sword, and that leaf will still remain intact, sort of idea. You can have it paper thin, not even, bother with it, but you can also have destructive force. It's about mastery, about full control, not just about full destructive power. And I really like this concept. It makes sense that it is something in Wano, that they have a name for it. This is something that samurai would aspire to. Full way of the sword, the mastery of the sword. So either way, guys, that's the end of the chapter and the end of the review. Chapter 939. This is getting good. I'm really looking forward to what's going down right now. The prison sumo fight is looking really cool. Zoro, I want to see him go up against Kyukimaru again. I hope we don't jump over to anybody else for quite some time. This has been a lot of fun with these two characters. I love following Luffy and Zoro specifically. I don't mind getting dialogue-heavy stuff. Seeing where Nekomamushi and Marco are, because let's be honest here, Marco is showing up in Wano, guys. He just is. Anybody who doubts it, you can have your doubts, but Nekomamushi and Marco are showing up in Wano. So either way, what did you guys think of the chapter? What did you think of the review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, it's always really appreciated. I got to 100 subscribers. Thank you to Fang Streitzer, who allowed me to go into his live stream the other day and kind of gave me a boost there, saying, come on guys, let's get him to 100. So really appreciate that. Thank you, Fang. Thank you to all the guys on the Boar's Hat podcast, Grim and Keishan and Naya and Sundown and Vengeful and just Zarsel and all the guys in there, the consistent. Really appreciate you guys, coming in and allowing me to be part of the podcast, because that has clearly helped boost up my channel here, there, and everywhere. So thanks so much, guys. And anyway, this is chapter 939 of One Piece. As always, this has been Griever. Drink responsibly. See you next time.